Hi and welcome back to Garden Ninja. Today I've brought myself down to London to the Kyoto gardens, which is a great example of a traditional Japanese garden. And what I'm going to do today is to give you some hints and tips as to how to create your own Japanese garden at home. Come on, let's get cracking. So the first tip for Japanese garden design is to follow the principle of nature, trying to keep the design and the materials as natural as possible. Japanese garden design isn't about modernity. It's about taking nature and reducing it or stylising it to fit your garden space, which is why Japanese garden design is excellent for small spaces, because you can take symbols and trees and reduce them by using certain cultivars and species, making it look natural but on a much smaller scale. The second tip is the careful use of trees and shrubs. Not only can this keep the garden looking natural, but you can also use trees to screen off undesirable parts of the garden, or even to lead the visitor around the garden, using it to add points of interest and structure. Evergreen shrubs are also fantastic in giving year-round colour, and the benefit of this is that you can prune them to keep them smaller in size but still giving that naturalist look. The third tip would be to include a water feature in the garden. Now this could be moving water, such as a natural waterfall, or even a still pond of water to show reflection and calm. The one thing that it should be is natural, and make sure that it's in scale with the garden. The last thing you want is a humongous waterfall in a tiny garden that just looks completely unrealistic. Rocks feature heavily in Japanese garden design, whether the rocks are there to symbolise nature in the form of mountains, or a more spiritual side, such as the passing between heaven, earth, and the bridge between. The advice would be to group rocks together though, maybe in 3s or 5s, to give a better structure and overall effect. And lastly, the tip would be, if you're going to use statues and buildings, make sure they're in keeping with the scale of the garden. Things like pergolas and tea houses are fantastic. If you've only got a small space, you may need to pare them back slightly so that they don't overwhelm the overall look of the garden. Again, they should be good structural pieces but not take away from the natural feel and look of the garden. So the Japanese design is trying to mimic nature. That's why you're not going to find things like square ponds, fountains, big metallic structures or anything like that. And the use of water is always used in a naturalist setting. This is really key to Japanese garden design, mimicking nature, bringing zen and tranquility to the garden space. I've been Garden Ninja, and if you like this clip, why not subscribe to my YouTube channel to see more clips of both garden design and gardening hints and tips. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.